Welcome to a special series on children's rights and specifically on Article 53 of the Constitution of Kenya. So, over the last week, we have seen posting on social media on different issues on child protection and especially on the violation of child rights. And as part of our work is making children visible. And over the next few weeks, we are going to explore the different laws on Kenya, which are currently about 168, which have speaks and bits about children, from the Children's Act of 2001 to the Basic Education Act to the Crime and Cybercrime Acts of 2016. So we are going to explore the different policies that are there that have to do with children. So we are going to have experts on different laws who are going to speak to us about this issue. I'm going to start today by the main law about children in Kenya. That is the Constitution of Kenya. And the best thing about the Constitution of Kenya, it's one of the few constitutions in the world that have entrenched child rights in the Constitution. And that's Article 53 of the Constitution of Kenya. I am going to start with I'm going to read as it says in Article 53:1. It says, every child has the right to, and it goes to expound to, a name and nationality from birth. That means that every child, if you're born in Kenya, if your parent, either the mother or the father, is Kenyan, you have a right to a nationality. That means it doesn't matter if your father is from Kazakhstan, but if your mom is from Kenya, you're a Kenyan by nationality. If you were born in Kenya, regardless of your parents' background or place, country of origin, you are a Kenyan national by birth, and you're entitled to a name and nationality from birth. Free and compulsory basic education. This is one thing that we have seen over the last few weeks, people discussing, especially because of the new government coming in and their promises about having free primary and secondary, free basic education. That's from primary school all the way to the secondary school. So that means that the Constitution envisions that every Kenyan child, regardless of where you come from, if you come from Runda or you come from Turkana, you are entitled to free primary or free basic education. And this means you have to have a proper classroom, you have to have a teacher, you have to have materials for learning as part of in the Constitution. That's what it entails. And then Part 1C says to basic nutrition, shelter, and healthcare. So the Constitution of Kenya is very progressive. It says basic nutrition, shelter, and healthcare. That means any child in Kenya is entitled to a meal a day. That's basic. Shelter, proper shelter, and healthcare. So Part D, which is very important and very relevant during these 16 days of activism, is to protect from abuse, neglect, harmful cultural practices, all forms of violence, inhumane treatment and punishment, and hazardous or exploitative work. So basically, this particular clause has protected children from all forms of harm, all forms of violence. So no child should be abused. Corporal punishment in itself is illegal. Child labor is illegal. Cultural practices, FGM, child marriage, beading, tattooing, it's all illegal. So the Constitution is very clear about that. And then Part E, 1E says to parental care and protection, which includes equal responsibilities of mother and father to provide for the child, whether they are married to each other or not. So this sometimes, especially in family court, you find people arguing because I'm staying with the child, I'm taking more care of the child, there's more responsibility. But the Constitution of Kenya says that you have equal responsibilities. So if you father a baby out there and you're not taking care of that child, remember you're responsible for that child. And if you're found you're not taking care of that child, you can be jailed. It's illegal. And whether married or not, so it doesn't matter if the parents are married or not, both of them, they are responsible for that child. And do not, part F, 1F says, not to be detained except as a measure of last resort when detained to be held. So that means that a child has been protected from being detained. So no child should be detained unless it's as last resort. You have explored all other measures. For example, you have explored pre-bargaining for in case of court cases, or you have gone through diversion. You have gone through counseling. If it's the last result, that's when a child should be detained. That's the Constitution. And if that child is to be detained, is for the shortest time possible. And it has been expounded in the Children's Act. It's a maximum of 3 years. So no child should be detained for more than 3 years, either in Boston institution or in residential rescue centers. No child should be detained for more than 3 years. And during this time, this child should be going through rehabilitation. That's the assumption, that when the child is detained, they are going through the rehabilitation. So that's part F is very clear, that no child should be detained long. It should be the shortest time period, which has been explained in the Children's Act to be 3 years, and should be separated from adults and in conditions that take care account of the child's sex and age. This means no child should be detained in the same cell as an adult. It's illegal. No child, if you ever go into a cell, or in a police cell, and you find a child that has been detained together with adults, that's illegal. No child should be detained. Every police cell should have a special room for children, and for that, children should not be in cells anyway. But if a child has to be in cell, this should be in a cell that, one, is disaggregated in terms of age. No, they should not be put together and sex. So boys and girls should not be put in the same cell. So and part 2, it says a child's best interests are of paramount importance in every matter concerning that child. This is something that I think most of us don't consider, the best interest of the child in our action, in our everything that we do. Are we doing it in the best interest of the child? In our programs, in our activities, as a company, for example, when you are hiring, are you hiring in the best interest of the child? Most people ask me, how do corporate world have to do with children? You are hiring parents. Those parents have children. And if you force that parent to stay up to 8, you are denying that child Article 1E, parental care and protection. So that parent does not have enough time to care for that child. So that is not in the best interest of that child. Your products, for example, if you produce things that are going to be harmful to children, for example, maybe a snack or a candy that has more sugar, with this in this age of lifestyle diseases, that means you're putting that child in danger. If you don't give that mother enough time for rest or for maternity care, that you're denying that child parental care, and you're denying that child a right. You're not acting in the best interest of that child. So best interest of child should be looked at in all spheres, in the corporate world, in the development world, in our economics, in our planning as government. For example, this is my plea to President Uhuru. As you're being sworn in, you are just about to set up your government. As you're setting up your government, do it in the best interest of the child. Because anyway, they constitute 54% of this nation. They are 54%. Like, how many millions? About 28 million of the population are children. So one of the things that probably the president can do in the best interest of the child is have a PS. If we are requesting for a minister, but a PS, just one a PS who is in charge of children pure, no, and not add-ons or these other things, and in a ministry that is in line with children. You know, for example, the current ministry is Ministry of Labor, East African and Social Services. So children don't come as a priority in this ministry because it's East African affairs things are more important than children, because so the CS would more likely be linked to East African affairs. Labor, we cannot compete with Brother Tuoli. We cannot compete with Session. We cannot compete with that. Children cannot compete with Session. Children cannot compete with Brother Tuoli. So put in a ministry that is more friendly to children, so that children can be a priority. And the other thing, have an advisor who is going to advise you specifically on children matters, issues to do with child protection, ending violence against children, because the numbers are very worrying. For currently 1 in 4 girls is married before the age of 18 years, which is very, very worrying. 28% of all the girls have been cut. 75% of all adults have gone through some form of violence. 40% being sexual in nature. So if we are going to be able to safeguard the next generation, we need to see best interest consideration in forming of government. And this, I'm just referring to the Constitution. Over the last few months, we've been forced to read the Constitution, but I don't think a lot of people have read Article 53. And for me, this is the basis of us acting or working towards ensuring a stronger nation, a more secure nation. If you're able to, as the Constitution envisioned, be able to apply these rights as they are, or as they've been expounded in the different laws that we are going to explore over the next few weeks, and ensuring that children are able to enjoy their rights. So the next law is going to be Children's Act 2001. It's being reviewed, so it has some gaps. We'll try to see how we can be able to incorporate some of the changes and to see what you guys think, what other things should change in the Children's Act 2001. Thank you very much. If you have any specific law that you want us to look into in relation to the children, please comment on Facebook, down there, on YouTube, same. Just on Twitter, please just comment and say which law do you want us to look into in relationship to the children. Thank you very much. Remember to subscribe, follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. Thank you very much.